Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why you sometimes feel invisible? Even when you're doing everything you can to be noticed, that silent ache of wondering if you're enough can feel crushing, like there's some secret code to attraction that everyone else understands but you. Yet here's the truth. There is no secret code. The real starting point is not about what you wear, what you say, or how perfectly you play the game. It's about what you believe about yourself when no one is watching. If deep inside you carry the thought that you are not worthy, every action, every word, every glance will reflect that belief. People can sense it even when you think you're hiding it. Confidence isn't just a surface trick, it's an energy that radiates from within. Psychologists call it self-concept, the story you silently tell yourself about your own value. That story dictates how others treat you, how they respond to you, and even how they love you. The way you see yourself becomes the mirror that others can't help but reflect back. So before you think about how to attract him, you must awaken a deeper truth. You are already enough. You don't need to prove it, chase it, or beg for it. You only need to claim it. When you shift from doubt to belief, everything about you changes. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you enter a room, it all becomes magnetic. This isn't about arrogance or pretending. It's about owning what has always been there, but was buried beneath years of fear and comparison. Imagine for a moment what it feels like to stop questioning yourself. Imagine standing in front of the mirror and seeing someone powerful, someone valuable, someone who doesn't have to beg for attention because she naturally commands it. That feeling isn't reserved for the lucky few. It belongs to anyone who dares to believe in their own worth. And the moment you embrace it, you will see how others look at you differently without you even trying. This is the emotional foundation of everything that follows. If you build on insecurity, you build on sand. But when you build on self-worth, you create unshakable ground. Men don't fall for desperation, they fall for certainty. They are drawn to the quiet confidence that says, I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to show it. That confidence is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about walking in your truth so strongly that he can't help but notice. And here is the greatest reward of all. When you claim your worth, you don't just get attention, you gain freedom. Freedom from overthinking, freedom from competing, freedom from the endless cycle of wondering why you aren't enough. You finally realize you don't need to chase because the right person will be drawn to the energy you radiate effortlessly. That kind of confidence doesn't just get the guy, it transforms your entire life. Stay with this journey because what you are about to learn will not just show you steps to get his attention, but steps to step into your highest self. This is not just about him. This is about you unlocking the power you've had all along, and once you see it, you'll never settle for anything less again. When you truly begin to see your own worth, something powerful shifts. You stop approaching love from a place of needing to be chosen and start radiating the energy of someone who already knows she is valuable. This energy is impossible to ignore. Men sense it without you saying a single word. The way you stand, the way you breathe, the calm in your eyes, all of it communicates a message. You are not here to beg for attention. You are here because you belong. That certainty is the foundation of attraction. Owning your worth means setting the tone for how others treat you. Psychology has shown again and again that people respond to the standards you project. If you carry yourself as though you deserve respect, it becomes natural for others to give it. But if you walk into situations doubting yourself, that doubt seeps into every interaction. Men are not drawn to insecurity. They are drawn to presence. And presence comes from a woman who knows she doesn't have to prove anything to earn love. Think about how different your energy feels when you decide that your value is non-negotiable. Suddenly, you're not afraid of silence. You're not desperate for constant validation. You don't crumble if he doesn't text back right away because you understand that your worth was never tied to his response. This quiet strength creates an undeniable pull. It's not about being loud, it's about being certain. Certainty is magnetic. Confidence at its core is not a performance. It's not pretending to be someone you're not. Real confidence is the calm acceptance of who you are, flaws included. Men can sense when a woman is trying too hard, just as easily as they can sense when a woman is comfortable in her own skin. And comfort in your own skin is one of the most beautiful, captivating qualities you can embody. When you stop hiding behind masks, you give permission for him to lean in. and see the real you, and that realness is irresistible. Psychologists call this authenticity effect, the phenomenon where genuine behavior draws others closer while forced behavior pushes them away. When you stop editing yourself to fit what you think he wants and start embracing the truth of who you are, you create a dynamic where attraction happens naturally. You no longer worry about being enough because you finally understand that being yourself is more than enough. This is why owning your worth is the first essential step, because without it, everything else feels like chasing. And the moment you chase, you lose power. Men are wired to respond to challenge, to respect boundaries, to lean into mystery. A woman who values herself is both approachable and untouchable at the same time. She is warm but not desperate. She is kind but not a doormat. She is loving but not empty. That balance is what keeps a man captivated, because he sees in her a woman who cannot be easily replaced. When you embody this energy, you shift from hoping to attract him to knowing you will. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've aligned with the truth of who you are. You carry yourself like someone who has nothing to prove. And when you do, he will feel it in his bones. He won't just notice you, he will respect you, admire you, and pursue you. Because the most attractive thing you can ever wear is the unwavering belief that you are already worthy. When you stand in the fullness of your worth, the next step is to let that energy awaken curiosity. Curiosity is the spark that pulls someone closer without you having to push. It is the invisible magnet that makes him wonder about you long after the conversation ends. Humans are wired to be drawn to what feels new, different, or slightly out of reach. This is the psychology of novelty. Our minds crave the unknown. Our attention sharpens when something isn't fully revealed. If you give everything away too quickly, there's nothing left for him to explore. But when you hold a little mystery, when you let your life and energy speak louder than your need for approval, you ignite a desire in him to know more. Curiosity is not about games. It is about living in a way that inspires questions. What lights you up? What passions fuel you? What makes your eyes shine when you talk about it? A woman who is genuinely engaged in her own life radiates an energy that can't be fabricated. Men feel drawn to her because she is not sitting still waiting for someone to complete her. She is in motion, building, learning, expanding. That energy is contagious, and it creates an inner question in his mind: what is it about her that feels so alive? The mistake many make is believing they must always be available, always present, always pouring attention toward him. But constant availability kills curiosity. It sends the signal that there is nothing more to discover, no layers left unexplored. When you create moments of space, when you allow him to wonder what you're doing, where your thoughts are, what you might be feeling, you plant seeds of desire that grow stronger with every passing moment. Desire is fueled by contrast, by the dance between presence and absence, openness and mystery. Psychologists have long studied the Zeigarnik effect, the idea that unfinished experiences stay in our minds longer than completed ones. In attraction, this means the less predictable and the more intriguing your energy, the more he will think about you when you're not around. By not giving away everything at once, your time, your stories, your constant attention, you create that sense of unfinished business. You become the thought that lingers in his mind when the night is over, the spark that refuses to fade. This is not about withholding affection or playing cold. It is about balance. Warmth, kindness, and openness make you approachable, but mystery makes you unforgettable. Show him your depth, but not all at once. Reveal layers slowly, in a way that keeps him leaning forward, eager to discover more. Just like a powerful book is read chapter by chapter, your presence should unfold with time. That unfolding is what keeps the journey alive. When you live with this kind of energy, you stop worrying about chasing and start embodying attraction, because curiosity is the silent pull that makes him choose to come closer again and again. And here lies your power. You don't force connection. You create an environment where he cannot resist seeking it. You don't have to demand attention, you inspire it. You don't have to fight for his focus, you naturally hold it. Every step you take in your own growth, every passion you pursue, every moment you choose to let your energy speak louder than your words builds that magnetic curiosity. And once it's awakened, it becomes nearly impossible for him to look away. Curiosity may open the door, but what keeps him walking through it again and again is the emotional energy you carry. Attraction may start with appearance or intrigue, but it deepens when someone feels something powerful in your presence. Humans are emotional creatures before anything else, and our hearts are drawn to the people who shift our state, who make us feel alive, safe, inspired, or understood. This is the essence of emotional magnetism, the invisible force that creates a lasting pull. When you walk into a room carrying joy, calmness, or warmth, people naturally mirror those emotions. Psychologists call this emotional contagion. The moods of those around us seep into our own, often without us realizing it. That means if you radiate negativity, insecurity, or constant stress, the energy pushes people away. But if you consistently radiate positivity, peace, or passion, you become someone others feel better around, and that feeling is addictive. Men are not just attracted to what they see, they are captivated by how they feel when they are with you. Think about the power of presence. You don't need to force conversation. You don't need to overthink every move. Simply carrying an energy of grounded confidence and genuine joy makes you magnetic. Your laughter, your calm silence, the light in your eyes, these small but powerful signals create a deep impression. They say without words, here is someone whose spirit lifts others higher. And that is what people crave. Emotional magnetism is not about pretending to be happy all the time. It's about learning to master your inner state so you're not controlled by external chaos. When you know how to center yourself, how to find calm in stress, how to shift from anxiety to gratitude, you become unshakable. Men feel that stability and are drawn to it because it makes them feel safe. Safety and attraction are not opposites, they are partners. The person who can make you feel both excitement and security is the one you never want to let go of. This is where the real shift happens. Instead of focusing on whether he likes you, focus on the emotional atmosphere you create when you're around him. Are you lifting energy or draining it? Are you offering calm confidence or projecting fear? Are you giving off light or shadow? Every choice matters because emotions are contagious, and yours will set the tone. If you want him to be drawn closer, you must first embody the emotions you want reflected back. Science has proven that people remember emotions longer than they remember words. He may forget what you wore, what you said, even where you went together, but he will never forget how you made him feel. That emotional imprint is what lingers, what pulls him back, what makes him crave your presence more than anything else. This is the power you hold right now. You don't have to be the most beautiful in the room, the funniest, or the most impressive. What matters is the state you carry within yourself and how it influences the people around you. Emotional magnetism is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional, choosing to live in a way where your energy uplifts, inspires, and calms. When you embody that, attraction is no longer a struggle. It becomes inevitable. Attraction grows strongest when words are matched by actions that are subtle yet unmistakable. Human beings are wired to read signals beyond what is spoken, and these signals often carry more power than anything you could ever say. A single glance, a genuine smile, the warmth in your tone, these things bypass logic and speak directly to the subconscious mind. They communicate interest, without the need for explanation. And it is in this quiet language that desire begins to deepen. Nonverbal cues are powerful because they activate mirror neurons, the brain's natural mechanism for connection. When you smile, he feels an impulse to smile back. When your eyes linger just a moment longer, his heart rate shifts before he even realizes it. Attraction often starts in these small, unspoken exchanges, building a silent rhythm that pulls two people closer. Men are especially responsive to this kind of energy because it speaks to instinct. It tells him, without words, that there is an opening, that there is interest, that there is something worth pursuing. The key lies in balance. Too much intensity and the signal becomes overwhelming, making it feel forced or unnatural. Too little and the signal gets lost, leaving no spark to ignite curiosity. The sweet spot is in subtlety, gentle gestures that create just enough recognition to spark thought while still leaving room for him to step forward. A light touch on the arm, a playful glance, or leaning in slightly while listening. Each of these is a quiet invitation, never a demand. And because it feels natural, it draws him closer without resistance. What makes these signals powerful is not the action itself, but the energy behind it. A smile fueled by genuine warmth carries more power than a dozen rehearsed gestures. Eye contact that comes from confidence feels magnetic, while eye contact rooted in desperation feels heavy. Your intention shapes the effect. This is why inner alignment is so important. When your signals come from a place of true self-worth, they cannot be misread. They feel authentic, and authenticity is always attractive. Subtle cues also create safety. They give him the space to recognize your openness without feeling pressured. Attraction is not built on force, it thrives in invitation. Men lean in when they feel drawn, not when they feel pushed. By using signals instead of demands, you create a space where he chooses to pursue, where his natural desire to move closer takes over. And when desire is chosen, it lasts longer and feels deeper. These signals, though small, are often what separate connection from missed opportunity. They are the invisible bridges that allow curiosity to cross into attraction. They tell him you are open, without stripping away the mystery that makes him want to discover more. They keep the dance alive, step, pause, step again, each movement fueled by the balance of giving just enough while holding something back. Remember, attraction doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be obvious. It simply needs to be felt. And when you master the quiet power of subtle signals, you communicate interest in the purest way through energy, presence, and intention. This is how you guide him without chasing, how you invite him without words, and how you deepen a connection that feels natural, powerful, and undeniable. Attraction is not meant to be constant comfort. It thrives on the balance between closeness and space, between certainty and anticipation. The human mind is wired to crave what it cannot fully predict, and it is in that dance of tension that desire grows strongest. When everything is given instantly, the mystery fades. When nothing is given at all, connection never takes root. The art lies in creating moments that stir anticipation, where he feels the undeniable pull to want more than what is right in front of him. This tension is not about manipulation. It is about understanding the psychology of desire. Dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, spikes not when a reward is received, but in the anticipation of receiving it. That means the wait, the pause, the delayed gratification is what heightens the experience. If you are always instantly available, always pouring attention without pause, there is no buildup, no excitement, no chase. But when you allow space, when you leave room for him to wonder, the anticipation becomes the fuel that keeps attraction alive. Think about how powerful it is when a conversation ends while there is still more to be said. That unfinished feeling lingers in the mind, replaying over and over, creating a hunger for more. The same is true with presence. When you share enough of yourself to spark emotion, but not so much that every mystery is solved, you leave him with a question, a craving, a desire to close the gap. That gap is what pulls him towards you. Tension is also created through contrast. Warmth followed by space, openness followed by mystery, playfulness followed by calm stillness. Each shift makes the other more powerful. Just as light feels brighter after darkness, attention feels stronger after absence. By allowing these contrasts to exist, you create a rhythm that never feels dull, never feels predictable. Predictability may feel safe, but it kills excitement. Uncertainty, when balanced with warmth, keeps the heart racing and the mind engaged. This doesn't mean playing hard to get or pretending to be someone you are not. It means honoring your own life, your own rhythm, and not collapsing into constant availability. It means allowing him to miss you, to feel your absence, to long for your presence. When he feels that space, it awakens a deeper appreciation for the moments you do share. Without absence, presence is taken for granted. Without tension, desire fades into comfort. What makes this so powerful is that it places you in alignment with your own value. By not overgiving, you communicate without words that your time and energy are precious. That message is irresistible because it shows strength, boundaries, and self-respect. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves as though they cannot be consumed all at once, as though there's always more to discover. That mystery becomes the thread that keeps him reaching, chasing, and investing. Desire is not sustained through intensity alone. It is sustained through rhythm. By balancing closeness with distance, presence with pause, giving with withholding, you create a flow that keeps attraction alive. The tension is not something to fear. It is the very spark that turns interest into passion and passion into pursuit. When you understand this, you no longer chase. You simply allow him to feel the pull of wanting more, again and again. Attraction is amplified when it goes beyond surface-level charm and begins to touch growth. The most powerful relationships are not built on fleeting chemistry but on expansion, the sense that being with this person makes life bigger, richer, and more meaningful. Human beings are wired to seek self-expansion, to move toward experiences and people that help them grow into more than they were before. When you embody this energy, you don't just capture attention, you become unforgettable. A man is not only drawn to beauty or intrigue, he is deeply impacted by how you influence his evolution. When your presence challenges him to rise higher, when your energy pushes him toward his best self, you occupy a place in his mind that cannot be easily replaced. This is not about fixing him or molding him. It is about inspiring him by the way you live and the standards you hold to bring forth the strongest version of himself. True attraction is not passive, it is transformative. Growth in a relationship comes from challenge as much as from comfort. If you are only soft and agreeable, you may feel easy to be around, but you risk becoming forgettable. If you bring no challenge, there is no spark. When you dare to stand firm in your boundaries, when you express your truth, when you hold to your values, you communicate to him that you are not someone who will shrink just to please. That strength awakens respect, and respect is the foundation of lasting desire. The human brain craves novelty and challenge to stay engaged. This is why relationships that lack growth often collapse into boredom. When you bring fresh perspectives, new experiences, and a spirit of curiosity into his life, you keep that sense of expansion alive. He begins to associate you with excitement, with forward motion, with becoming more than he was before he met you. That is how bonds become unbreakable, not because of constant attention, but because of the sense of adventure and development you represent. This does not mean you must always push or demand. It means you show him, through your own example, that growth is your way of living. You pursue your passions, you stretch your limits, you commit to becoming more. That energy is magnetic. It silently communicates that if he wants to walk beside you, he must grow too. And that invitation, silent yet undeniable, pulls him toward his best self. To become the reason he grows is to become unforgettable. He will remember the woman who sparked something within him that no one else could. He will respect the one who stood tall enough to challenge him, yet soft enough to support him. Balance is the key. Strength without harshness, encouragement without pressure, inspiration without control. When you embody that balance, you awaken a part of him that feels both drawn and elevated. Every relationship that endures is built on growth. Without it, passion fades and connection weakens. With it, the bond deepens over time, becoming richer, more alive, more unshakable. This is the energy you carry when you choose to be a catalyst for expansion, not by forcing change, but by standing so firmly in your own growth that he cannot help but grow alongside you. When you bring that energy, you don't just get his attention, you become the reason he becomes more. And that is the kind of attraction that never fades. Growth creates respect, but true closeness is born when you allow yourself to be seen without the armor. Attraction may ignite with mystery, but intimacy deepens through vulnerability. To let someone glimpse your real fears, your imperfections, and your dreams is to invite connection at its highest level. Many fear this step because it feels risky. It feels like opening the door to rejection. Yet psychology has shown again and again that vulnerability is the bridge to trust, and trust is the soil in which love grows. The human heart longs for authenticity. We are not moved by perfection, we are moved by truth. When you try to appear flawless, you may impress for a moment, but it creates distance. It feels untouchable, almost unreal. But when you allow him to see that you are human, strong yet tender, confident yet still growing, you awaken something deeper in him. He recognizes himself in you. He feels safe enough to let his guard down because you had the courage to lower yours first. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength in its rawest form. It takes far more courage to say, "This is who I am," without the mask, than it does to hide behind rehearsed confidence. Men are drawn to this courage because it signals trust. It says you are not afraid to let him witness your truth. And trust awakens devotion. This doesn't mean oversharing or pouring out every detail of your life all at once. It means choosing moments to let the walls drop, to allow your voice to tremble with honesty, to share something real that reveals your heart. Even small admissions of truth, like admitting a fear or expressing a dream that feels vulnerable, carry immense power. They turn surface level attraction into emotional intimacy. They shift the dynamic from performance to connection. The psychology behind this is simple. People bond through shared vulnerability. When one person dares to go first, the other feels safe to follow. By allowing yourself to be seen, you open the door for him to reveal himself too. And when both hearts are uncovered, the bond becomes unbreakable. It is no longer just about attraction, it is about mutual trust and understanding. There is nothing more magnetic than authenticity. A woman who can show both strength and softness, who can laugh with confidence and cry without shame, becomes unforgettable. She's not trying to control the outcome. She's not hiding out of fear. She is living in truth. That truth is what touches the heart, because it is real, and real is rare. When you embrace vulnerability, you no longer fear rejection, because you understand that being seen is more important than being perfect. And paradoxically, this is what makes you most irresistible. You stop performing, and you start connecting. You stop chasing validation, and you start inviting intimacy. Every man may notice beauty, but not every man is granted the gift of seeing someone's soul. When you allow that glimpse, you stand apart. You become not just someone he desires, but someone he feels deeply bonded to. And once that bond is formed, attraction is no longer fleeting. It becomes rooted, lasting, and profoundly alive. Vulnerability opens the door, but what keeps someone walking through that door is the sense of safety you create. Attraction may begin with mystery, and intimacy may grow through openness, but lasting connection depends on whether he feels he can rest in your presence without fear of judgment or rejection. Human beings crave security as deeply as they crave excitement. A man will stay where he feels seen, accepted, and free to be himself without constantly defending or performing. This is not about being passive or permissive. It is about cultivating an atmosphere where both of you can exhale. Emotional safety does not mean agreeing with everything or silencing your truth. It means listening without immediately condemning. It means holding space for his struggles without making him feel small for having them. It means giving him the freedom to express his thoughts without fear that every word will be used against him. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior or crossing your boundaries, but it does create a climate of understanding. And understanding is what builds unshakable bonds. Attachment psychology shows that people stay where they feel secure. A man who feels constantly criticized, belittled, or made to walk on eggshells will eventually pull away, no matter how strong the initial attraction was. But a man who feels safe to open up, to be flawed, to admit fears or failures, will lean in closer. That closeness becomes the glue that deepens love. Safety allows passion to grow instead of wither, because passion without trust burns out quickly, while passion with trust becomes lasting fire. Creating safety is not about lowering your standards. On the contrary, it's about raising them. It's about showing that you can maintain boundaries with grace rather than anger, that you can communicate your needs without tearing him down, that you can be strong without making him feel small. That balance is magnetic. It shows him that being with you doesn't mean losing himself. It means becoming more of himself. And when he feels that, he won't want to let go. Safety is also about consistency. Anyone can be kind once. Anyone can be patient once. But true safety comes when your words, actions, and energy align over time. When he realizes that your warmth is not a performance, but a genuine part of who you are. When he sees that your support is steady, not conditional. That steadiness becomes priceless, because in a world filled with chaos, he finds in you a place where he can finally rest. And here is the deeper truth. The safety you create for him is a reflection of the safety you hold within yourself. If you are secure in who you are, you don't feel threatened by his flaws. If you are grounded in your worth, you don't fear honesty. If you are confident in your strength, you don't need to tear him down to prove it. By embodying your own inner safety, you naturally extend it to him. This is what makes connection unbreakable. Attraction may catch his eye, vulnerability may touch his heart, but safety anchors his soul. It tells him, without words, that here is someone he can trust with his truth, and trust is the foundation that turns fleeting desire into enduring devotion. Safety anchors connection, but what keeps it alive and vibrant is the spark of challenge. People grow in relationships where they feel both supported and inspired, where comfort does not turn into complacency. A man may find peace in your presence, but he also needs to feel stirred, motivated, and encouraged to rise higher. Without that balance, even the strongest attraction can dull, because love thrives not just on comfort but on expansion. Challenge does not mean conflict or creating unnecessary tension. It means refusing to settle for mediocrity within him, within yourself, and within the bond you share. It means holding him to the same standard you hold yourself, to keep becoming, to keep evolving, to keep striving toward greater potential. When you embody this energy, you become more than a partner. You become a catalyst. You become the presence that awakens the best version of him, not through pressure, but through inspiration. Psychology shows that people are drawn to relationships that make them feel alive. A man will stay where he feels not only loved, but also stretched, where he is encouraged to step into his strength, to sharpen his focus, and to pursue his ambitions with greater clarity. If he feels stagnant, if he senses no upward pull, his spirit begins to wander. But when he looks at you and sees someone who refuses to play small, someone who refuses to settle, he feels compelled to rise alongside you. That rise cements the bond deeper than words ever could. Challenge is about how you show up. Do you carry yourself with standards that demand respect? Do you pursue your goals with passion that makes him admire your drive? Do you speak your truth with courage, even when it would be easier to stay quiet? Each of these moments communicates that you are not afraid to stand tall. And in witnessing that, he feels both grounded and inspired. He realizes that being with you doesn't mean staying the same. It means becoming more. This dynamic keeps attraction alive because it fuels growth. Humans are wired to seek novelty, to crave progress, to chase evolution. When you embody challenge, you make the relationship a place where growth never stops. You remind him that comfort and passion are not opposites, but partners. That he can feel safe with you while also being pushed to become greater. This is where admiration and desire merge. He doesn't just want to be with you, he respects you deeply, and respect is the foundation of lasting love. But true challenge is not about domination. It is not about control or superiority. It is about mutual elevation. You challenge him to grow, and he challenges you in return. You push each other toward higher standards, deeper truths, bolder visions. In this exchange, the relationship becomes a crucible for transformation, a space where two people rise together rather than hold each other back. And here lies the power. A man who feels safe with you, yet consistently challenged by you, will never confuse you with anyone else. He will recognize that what you bring is rare, that your presence is not only comfort, but also fire. Comfort calms him. Fire awakens him. Together, they create the balance that keeps his heart anchored and his desire alive. Growth becomes magnetic when it is visible, when it radiates from you in a way that cannot be ignored. The energy of someone who refuses to remain stagnant carries a power that naturally draws others closer. A man who sees you pursuing your own vision, protecting your own boundaries, and demanding more of yourself feels compelled to match that energy. Not because you force him to, but because your very presence awakens the awareness that more is possible. You become a mirror of what he could be, and that reflection fuels both his attraction and his respect. The human mind craves progress. Stagnation suffocates desire, but growth breathes life back into it. When you stand as a living example of self-respect, discipline, and expansion, you transform the relationship into an environment where possibility is endless. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is about showing him through your actions that you are moving forward and that anyone who walks beside you must also keep stepping into more. The pull of that energy is irresistible because it is aligned with what every person truly wants: to feel alive, to evolve, to matter. Psychology teaches us that attraction deepens when admiration is present. Love without admiration loses its intensity, but when admiration exists, desire and respect intertwine in a way that cannot easily be broken. A man who admires you does not only love you, he values you. He sees you not as someone who simply fills a space in his life, but as someone who expands it. He knows that being with you elevates him, sharpens him, and reminds him of his own capacity. That knowledge makes him protective of the bond, unwilling to let it slip, because he understands its rarity. Your standards are not barriers, they are invitations. They signal to him that if he wants to stand beside you, he must rise. They tell him that this relationship will never be one of settling, but of building. And in that building, he finds both comfort and challenge, both peace and fire. These contrasts fuel the chemistry that keeps attraction alive over time. He does not simply feel safe, he feels awakened. He does not simply feel supported, he feels inspired. He does not simply feel accepted, he feels called to greater heights. This balance creates a love that does not dull with routine because it is never static. The bond is alive, breathing, constantly evolving with each choice you both make to grow rather than stay still. That aliveness is what keeps passion burning long after the first spark. When he looks at you, he sees not only the one who accepts him, but also the one who believes he can be more. And belief is powerful. It changes how a person sees themselves, how they act, how they love in return. When you embody this energy, you stop chasing love and start attracting it effortlessly. You stop worrying about being enough because you know you already are. You stop fearing loss because you realize that the true power is not in holding someone tightly, but in creating a space so powerful, so magnetic, that they would never want to leave. This is the essence of lasting connection, to be both sanctuary and spark, both home and horizon. When you carry that within you, you do not just keep love, you elevate it into something unforgettable. True confidence is not born from seeking validation, but from embodying certainty within yourself. It is the quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you refuse to tolerate. This is not arrogance, nor is it cold detachment. It is alignment. It is the inner steadiness that makes you unshakable, regardless of circumstance. And when a man feels this energy radiating from you, it shifts how he perceives you. He cannot treat you casually, because your very presence commands depth. He cannot give you half effort, because your essence demands more. Attraction rooted in surface-level charm fades quickly, but attraction built upon respect, consistency, and unwavering authenticity only grows stronger. Every time you honor your own boundaries, you reinforce your value. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you make yourself magnetic. Every time you refuse to shrink for anyone, you create a dynamic where he feels both challenged and inspired. This balance feeds the relationship with vitality, ensuring that what you share is not temporary excitement, but lasting fire. There is something profoundly powerful about a person who cannot be swayed by the shallow or distracted by the meaningless. When you operate from clarity, you stop chasing, pleading, or proving because you no longer need to. Instead, you become the one who chooses, the one who sets the tone, the one who creates an environment where love flourishes because it is nurtured by strength rather than fear. This kind of presence is not common, and that is exactly why it is so captivating. A man who encounters it feels both grounded and awakened because you remind him of what true connection should feel like. The psychology of attraction reveals that human beings are wired to pursue what challenges them, to value what is not easily obtained, and to cherish what feels rare. When you embody self-respect and growth, you naturally align with these principles. You stop making yourself overly accessible, not as a strategy, but as a natural byproduct of living with purpose. You are not waiting for him to define you, because you have already defined yourself. And in that, you become the very thing he fears losing, not because of insecurity, but because he recognizes that being with you is an opportunity to experience love at its highest standard. This kind of love does not suffocate. It does not demand in desperation. It flows with a rhythm that inspires both partners to bring their best selves forward. It is a bond where silence is comfortable, where presence speaks louder than words, where both people feel expanded simply by being in each other's lives. And the more you commit to this energy, the more you see that love is not about clinging, but about creating. You are creating space, creating growth, creating possibility, and in doing so, you are creating a connection that cannot easily be replaced. When you live from this place, you stop fearing rejection because you understand that rejection cannot diminish what is already whole. You stop fearing abandonment because you realize that your worth was never tied to someone else's presence. You stop fearing loss because you know that anything meant for you will rise to meet the standard you embody. And this shift in energy is what makes everything fall into place, not through force, but through alignment. Love becomes a natural extension of your truth, and in that truth, you hold a power that cannot be taken away. Power is not found in trying to control someone else's actions, but in mastering your own. It is in the discipline of self-awareness, the unwavering practice of emotional regulation, and the refusal to let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. When you rise above the noise of insecurity and impulse, you elevate yourself to a level where you are no longer reacting, you are choosing. And every choice you make from that place reinforces the truth that you are not waiting to be defined by love. You are defining the love you will accept. The strongest presence in any relationship is the one who does not abandon themselves. To betray your own standards, to silence your own needs, to bend until you break just to be chosen, that is not love. That is self-neglect disguised as devotion. The moment you stop abandoning yourself is the moment everything changes. Respect flows back to you, desire deepens, and connection expands because you are showing up from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. And nothing is more magnetic than a person who is already complete yet still chooses to share their energy. Every man is subconsciously drawn to a woman who embodies this kind of unwavering strength, not because she is unattainable, but because she is unshakable. She becomes the mirror that reflects back his own potential. She becomes the standard that awakens him to rise higher. She becomes the anchor that steadies him, not by clinging, but by standing firmly rooted in her own power. It is not need that binds them, but choice, and in that choice lies the deepest form of love, because it is never born out of desperation, only out of genuine alignment. You do not inspire love by losing yourself. You inspire love by living fully as yourself. When you pour into your growth, when you embrace your own journey, when you prioritize your mental, emotional, and spiritual evolution, you become radiant in ways no superficial tactic can replicate. It is the glow of authenticity, the energy of self-belief, the quiet authority of someone who knows they are enough. That presence does not just attract, it commands devotion because it resonates on a level that cannot be ignored. The truth is, no one can ever fill a void you refuse to confront. No man, no relationship, no external validation can heal what you will not face within yourself. But the moment you choose to face it, the moment you decide to stand in the raw honesty of who you are and what you need, you transform. That transformation radiates outward, changing how people treat you, changing what you allow, changing the very energy you carry into every interaction. It is not manipulation, it is liberation. And it sets the foundation for a love that is not fragile, but indestructible. This is where attraction becomes unbreakable. Not because you cling tighter, but because you stand taller. Not because you fight to be kept, but because you embody the kind of energy no one wants to lose. And when you live from this truth, you realize that real love is not about being chosen once. It is about being continually chosen again and again because you never stop choosing yourself first. The depth of your worth is not measured by how much someone else desires you, but by how fiercely you honor your own value regardless of who stands beside you. When you operate from that unshakable center, you no longer fear loss because nothing essential can ever be taken from you. Love may enter, love may leave, but your essence remains untouched, radiant, and whole. This is the energy that makes you unforgettable. It is not about holding on tighter, but about radiating so brightly that the presence of your light becomes something a man will crave, respect, and cherish endlessly. The truth is, desperation repels while certainty attracts. The energy of clinging communicates lack, while the energy of confidence communicates abundance. You must decide which frequency you want to live in. When you choose abundance, you no longer see yourself as replaceable because you understand the uniqueness of your soul cannot be replicated. You no longer beg for attention because you realize your presence is already a gift. You no longer question your place in someone's life because you have already secured your place in your own. That shift does not just change how you feel, it transforms how the world responds to you. Every time you honor your boundaries, you reinforce your strength. Every time you refuse to shrink, you declare your power. Every time you choose patience instead of panic, dignity instead of desperation, you raise the standard of what love in your life must look like. And here lies the paradox. When you stop trying to force love, love flows more freely. When you stop chasing, you allow yourself to be pursued. When you stop begging to be seen, you become impossible to overlook. True attraction is born in this state of certainty, and it binds stronger than any tactic or game ever could. You must understand that longing for someone's validation is the fastest way to lose yourself. But standing firmly in your worth is the fastest way to draw that validation without ever asking. Men are drawn to the energy of a woman who knows she is complete because she does not demand his presence to feel whole. She invites it. She does not crumble when he pulls back. She does not shatter when he hesitates because she knows her value is not up for negotiation. That unspoken truth awakens something deep within him. It creates respect. It builds admiration. It stirs a desire to rise and meet the standard you embody without a single word spoken. This is where real intimacy begins, not in the fragile ground of fear and need, but in the fertile soil of strength and self-respect. When a man feels the gravity of your presence, when he senses that you will not abandon yourself for him, he cannot help but recognize the rarity of what you bring. And rarity is priceless. Rarity cannot be overlooked. Rarity cannot be replaced. That is why choosing yourself is never a risk. It is the foundation of everything you want to experience in love. You are not meant to shrink to be loved. You are meant to rise so high in your truth that love cannot help but rise with you. And when you embody this, you will never again fear whether someone will stay, because the only question will be whether they are strong enough to stand beside the force you have become. The moment you stop needing someone else to complete you is the moment you step into your highest power. That shift is magnetic because it signals to the world that your spirit is already overflowing. You no longer come from emptiness asking to be filled. You come from fullness, offering to share. This changes everything, because love given from fullness is fearless, while love given from lack is fragile. Fearful love clings, doubts, and demands. Fearless love breathes, trusts, and inspires. It's the difference between suffocating in desperation and soaring in freedom. The deepest attraction is born in freedom. When a man senses you do not bind him with fear, when he sees that you choose him but never need him to validate your existence, he experiences something rare. He feels the weight of true value. He feels the undeniable pull of a woman who would never collapse into dependency because her strength is rooted in self-respect. That force cannot be ignored. It calls him higher, challenges him to match the standard of presence you embody, and awakens his primal desire to protect and pursue what he knows is not easily found again. This is why silence often speaks louder than words. When you choose dignity over begging, when you choose composure over chaos, you speak the language of strength that every heart understands. A man may not always analyze it consciously, but he feels it in his bones. He feels that you are not afraid to walk away if what is offered does not honor your worth. That quiet certainty is more powerful than any argument, any plea, or any attempt to control. It is the energy of someone who has already decided that love without respect is no love at all. And when you live from that place, you no longer chase closeness. You attract depth. You no longer settle for temporary affection. You command lasting devotion. You no longer worry about whether someone might lose interest. You know that true connection cannot be sustained through games, but only through alignment with truth. The power shifts entirely when you recognize that your value is not up for debate. You stop being the one hoping to be chosen and become the one deciding who is worthy of standing beside you. There is nothing more compelling than a soul who knows their own worth. That kind of confidence radiates beyond appearance, beyond charm, beyond surface attraction. It roots itself deep in energy, and energy never lies. You can dress it up, disguise it, or deny it, but at the core, people feel who you are. They sense whether you are clinging to them for survival or inviting them into a life already whole. They feel whether you are trying to extract love from them or expand love with them. The difference is undeniable, and it is the difference between fleeting desire and lasting devotion. So decide to embody the force that does not beg, does not chase, and does not diminish itself for scraps of attention. Decide to stand so firmly in your truth that anyone who approaches you must rise to meet you or be left behind. Decide that your presence will no longer be diluted to accommodate fear, because fear has no place in love. When you choose this, you are no longer just in relationships. You are redefining the very standard of love itself. And that kind of power does not just change how others see you. It transforms how you see yourself. And once you see yourself clearly, you can never again accept anything less.